Gràcies per ser avui aquí en el lliurament d'aquest Premi Ernest Udina. Gràcies a la PEC, a la Carme, al Marc, a tot l'equip, per tota l'organització i el lideratge en aquest premi. Contem un cop més també aquest any amb la família d'Ernest Udina, amb nosaltres, i ens fa molta il·lusió acollir-vos una altra vegada a casa nostra, que és l'Europa aquí. I un agraïment especial també a la Cristina Gaillac per ser-hi amb nosaltres aquí per fer la glosa. I'll switch to English, la glosa, perquè we have to congratulate and pay tribute to Shada Islam for this well-deserved prize. We will hear more about it later, but to me it is a tribute, as we discussed just before, to your critical work on many fronts, ranging from geopolitics to the important work on diversity, thought-provoking, even more than thought-provoking. Some would even say provoking. Work on equality, which is much needed, on the fight against racism, Islamophobia, the fight against discrimination, for also inclusiveness, diversity, and also alerting on important issues of, unfortunately, today's times, such as the rise of the far right and of the mainstreaming in Europe that allows us, and here I speak as a citizen, but also as someone who works for the EU institution, allowing us to question our own biases, which I think is one of the most important things we need to do, especially in the area of disinformation. So from the Commission representation, we're delighted to have all of you here. We try to invest quite a lot from here in outreach and events, precisely on the themes that are addressed so eloquently by our premiada, which are equality issues. We do a lot on anti-racism also, migration and integration, people with disabilities, and disinformation. Christina will remind us the impressive trajectory, I'm sure, of Shada. I will therefore stop here and wish you a very productive and enlightening event. Thank you. And now I give the floor to Carme.
Moltes gràcies, Manuel. Bon dia a tothom. We will be switching Catalan-English, Shada, this morning. Benvinguts a aquesta 18a edició ja d'aquest Premi a la trajectòria Ernest Udina, a la trajectòria europeista que donem a periodistes, que aquest any especialment reconeix aquesta capacitat d'anàlisi de la Shada, d'una periodista que la Junta de la PEC ha considerat que és valenta, que té una mirada pròpia, que connecta la Unió Europea amb el món i que alhora també defensa una Europa compromesa amb els drets, i això és el que li reconeixem a la Shada aquest any. Shada Islam is a journalist, she is an analyst, a researcher, a writer. She's an independent, thoughtful and challenging voice in the European Union and about EU's relation with the rest of the world. Or, as she says, with the world, because 85% of the world population lives in the South, in the global South. So Europe and the world. She's an expert on EU-Asia relations, but she's also a journalist who shakes the foundation of EU political circles in Brussels with her advocacy to incorporate the ethnic diversity, the human rights, the gender rights, the minorities who are already in Europe, who are Europe, and not so many times well represented in EU institutions or in institutions in general. Shada writes about inclusion, about feminism. She denounces the inequalities and weaknesses of the European Union. Probably she denounces also our own weaknesses and our own biases when writing and when talking about the European Union. But she also analyzes the role of the Union in the world beyond these Eurocentric visions to connect the EU with this new international order that is changing so fast and where this global South, increasingly present, increasingly more diverse also, the South itself, where this South has a new centrality, and sometimes we forget where the centrality of this global order is taking place. So we value that Shada's views and Shada's work are a bridge between continents and a bridge between people, and we need bridge builders. Shada, we need them. So we really appreciate that you are here, and the moment couldn't have been more timely looking for the date, because at the end, we are at the end of a year that it has been so full of conflict, so violent. In fact, 2023 has been one of the most conflictive years in the world since the Second World War. In just 12 months, political violence has increased at 27%. It grows in intensity, it grows in frequency, so that's the world we are living in now. The war in Gaza has marked the end of this 2023 with more than 17,000 casualties so far. And those who have certain age already, we remember still, I was thinking, Miguel Ángel Moratinos in the Mucata with Arafat, denouncing the shelling of the infrastructure that had been paid by the European Union. And there is a big silence now about what is happening. So this is a moment to rethink so many things about rights, about humanity, and even about the political role. So this is important. And this is also important because this future of the European Union that is facing these two different wars at their neighborhood will be decided in the polls and in June. And if the 2019 elections seal this end of the grand coalition that had built Europe with this majority granted to the Social Democrats and the Christian Democrats for so many decades, well, we will see what will be the new turn now in these elections, because from my point of view, the big question will be, where are the limits of this drift towards the radical right that the EU is going through? So this is an important moment also for the European Union in the next months. So if we want to have EU elections with people informed and with people knowing what to vote, we need information. And this is a journalist prize, in fact. And information is essential. Information is a right in itself, but it's also a multiplier of other rights. And we forget that sometimes also information also forms an integral part of freedom of speech, of freedom of expression, of promoting the rule of law, of building trust. So information is and should be treated as a public good, and sometimes is also forgotten. So we need information, we need this analysis, and we need journalism, and for that we need also Shada Islam and her articles. So thank you very much. Moltíssimes gràcies a tots per ser-hi una vegada més. Com sempre, moltes gràcies doncs, a la representació a Barcelona de la Comissió Europea i de l'Oficina del Parlament Europeu. Gràcies al Col·legi de Periodistes, perquè també és col·laborador sempre amb nosaltres aquest premi, i a l'Ajuntament de Barcelona. I com sempre aprofito, moltes gràcies a la família Udina, que com a mínim un cop l'any ens trobem aquí i podem compartir els vostres records i la nostra petjada de tots aquests anys de periodisme. Així que gràcies per ser-hi. Com a PEC ens sentim honorats que la Shada Islam entri a formar part de la nostra llista de guardonats del Premi Ernest Udina. Thank you very much, Shada, for accepting it. It was an honor for us. So thank you. Also, if they could send you a message. So here there are some messages for you. Ara sí.
When I first time heard about Shada Islam, it was like legend was going around. Fantastic woman, great journalist, passion for journalism, huge knowledge about the European Union, the European values, great project manager. It was when I joined the International Federation of Journalists some 20 years ago. Then a couple of years ago, I finally met the legend. And she was exactly as people were describing her all through these almost 20 years. So I'm really, really pleased that I've been working with the Shada through different media diversity projects now. I'm extremely proud of her that she got this award, and I really, really believe that this award went to the right hands.
Hello everyone, and hello Shada. Congratulations on receiving this well-deserved award from the Catalan Association of Journalists. I must say, over the years, Shada, it's been a real pleasure to have your friendship and to work with you on trying to improve the quality of journalism, not just in Europe, but worldwide. You've been an inspiration for the work that I've been trying and others have been trying to do to improve ethical journalism. But you've shown how important independent journalism is, the need to be challenging, the need to show humanity, to respect diversity and so on. So your award is really, I think, will be an inspiration to all of us who are trying to promote good quality journalism everywhere. And on a personal note, really, it's so good to have you on my contacts list. You're such a good friend, both personally and to the world of journalism as a whole. So well done and have a good time.
Bon dia a tothom. En primer lloc, deixeu-me felicitar-vos per haver guardonat la Shada Islam. Hi ha molts motius pels quals ella és mereixedora d'aquest guardó, però en mencionaré 3 amb el poc temps que em doneu. El primer és que és una persona compromesa, és una periodista compromesa amb la veritat, amb la llibertat, amb la democràcia, tant quan parla dels problemes d'Europa com quan parla de problemes del sud de la Mediterrània. En segon lloc, és una persona, és una gran comunicadora, és una immensa comunicadora, i això és molt important perquè els valors que defensa s'han de comunicar, s'han de fer arribar, i per tant aquesta qualitat és determinant. I en tercer lloc, i potser el més important, és que la Shada té una gran visió estratègica. Només voldria posar un exemple, no? Darrerament ha dit una cosa que comparteixo absolutament, i és que la Unió Europea ha fracassat amb la seva política pel Pròxim Orient, per Israel, per Palestina, i que per tant és l'hora dels estats, és a dir, que els estats s'han de comprometre, s'han d'implicar, i és una idea que comparteixo plenament i que demostra, jo crec, que és una dona amb una visió global, amb una visió estratègica que és cada vegada més important per entendre els problemes del món.
Hola de Bruselas y buenas tardes a tots els amics i Barcelona. Dear Shada, congratulations on this wonderful and well-deserved prize. Back in 1997, when we first met and I was a newcomer to Brussels, to me, you were the wise woman of the European Union, and you're still that, with your deep expertise of trade, politics, the institutions, but also of Europe's relations with Asia and the rest of the world. And especially now, your message on inclusion and diversity is particularly urgent. You have a rare combination of fierceness and grace, of expertise and passion, and I'm really proud to call you my friend. Once again, congratulations.
Well, that's a good start, but we want some more. Volem saber més coses de la Shada i li hem demanat a una altra premiada, Ernest Udina, a la Cristina Gallac, que ens explicarà qui és la Shada Islam. Thank you, Cristina. Tot teu.
Molt bon dia a tothom. Faré com la Carme, una mica de barreja entre el català i l'anglès. sobretot per transmetre-us, doncs ho heu vist ara en un resum, no? L'excel·lència d'una persona, d'una professional i tot el que ens aporta en aquests moments tan difícils. Realment, primer de tot, un agraïment a les institucions europees, al delegat de la comissió i a la PEC per demanar-me que participés aquest dematí aquí amb vosaltres, i he vingut una mica justa de temps, però hem arribat a l'hora. Jo estic molt contenta, Shada, I'm very happy. Mostly, maybe as happy as you are. Per què? I us diré 4 raons per les quals jo estic molt contenta. La primera, perquè, Shada, has estat elegida per la PEC. En aquestes circumstàncies, sobretot es valora la teva aportació a un periodisme inclusiu, a un periodisme de valors, a un periodisme de no deixar ningú enrere, a un periodisme que té les persones en el centre i que té aquesta mirada de fer una societat més diversa, més justa, més igualitària. Però és que, Shada, tu podries haver estat elegida també per els teus grans coneixements sobre les institucions europees i sobre les polítiques europees. I també la PEC et podia haver donat el premi per la teva acurada, sofisticada i profunda informació que has fet sobre la política exterior de les institucions europees i dels països europeus i els teus anàlisis sobre geopolítica. Per tant, motius per donar-te el premi n'hi ha moltíssims. Jo vull donar les gràcies a la PEC i l'enhorabona a tu perquè t'han escollit després de molts anys, ets molt jove, però portes molts anys treballant en temes europeus, en temes sobretot dedicats al bon periodisme. La segona raó per la qual estic molt contenta, perquè tu mereixes. Perquè realment, Shada, ets un referent. Ets un referent a Brussel·les, però ets un referent en totes les persones que ja no estan a Brussel·les i que et recordarem sempre més. D'aquí n'hi ha molts que no t'oblidaran mai. I ets un referent perquè en aquests moments on és molt important tenir aquestes persones que ens enfoquen, doncs tu irradies coneixement, irradies aquest acompanyament. Per tant, és un moment de gran satisfacció. Tercer, jo estic molt contenta perquè generes unanimitat. Jo ahir, abans d'ahir, vaig trucar una sèrie d'amics comuns a Brussel·les preguntant per tu i així. Ostres, tothom estava tan content i tan satisfet. Per tant, aquesta unanimitat que generes jo crec que ens anima molt, perquè és moments de poques unanimitats. Vull dir, tothom té les punxes, les aristes que diuen en castellà, i per tant aquesta unanimitat vol dir que ets una líder, i ets una líder que ens agrada seguir. I per tant, jo penso que aquest premi també em fa molt contenta perquè, com a periodista que sóc, encara que no exerceixo, però no deixaré mai de ser-ho, jo sóc una apassionada del periodisme d'impacte. Tinc la certesa de que el periodisme que transforma és un periodisme que ens ajuda a ser millors. I la major part dels periodistes volem una societat millor, i tu has volgut una societat millor. Per tant, és aquesta quarta raó per la qual avui estic molt contenta, quasi tant com tu. Després us faré una petita trajectòria. Jo conec a la Shada des de finals de l'any 92. En aquell moment jo vaig arribar a Brussel·les des de Moscou per fer de periodista, per treballar a l'agència EFE, i jo arribo a la sala de premsa i em trobo en un món molt interessant, entretingut, des del Boris Johnson, que en aquell moment era corresponsal del Daily Mail, fins a tu, que marcaves l'impremta, i en un moment en què ens semblava que el món era turbulent, perquè el Tractat de Maastricht l'havien tombat els danesos i el Petit Oui dels francesos. Fixeu-vos quines turbulències comparades amb les actuals. És veritat, en aquell moment també estàvem veient els inicis de la guerra als Balcans, que ens va marcar, tots els que en aquell moment van fer periodisme, ens va marcar moltíssim la guerra dels Balcans. Hi ha la Teresa Turier aquí, la Montse, la Carme, en fi, tota aquesta generació que estàvem allà. I en aquells moments, més o menys feliços, o potser no tant, però molt més cara, on el Kohl, el Mitterrand, el González, el Delors marcaven la pauta. I la sala de premsa era un cosmos entorn a aquestes 4 personalitats que tenien una idea d'Europa i de la construcció europea positiva i que per això personatges com el Boris Johnson ens animaven la juerga, però eren una anècdota. La sala de premsa era, no vull dir còmplice, perquè vigilava, però tenia aquests ideals compartits europeus. I ara podria ser una de les diferències amb la situació actual, no? També era un moment feliç perquè, Shada, te n'en recordaràs, you'll remember that, els primers periodistes dels països d'Europa de l'Est, l'Europa de l'Est que ja era lliure, que havien caigut els règims comunistes, s'ajuntaven amb nosaltres. I els vèiem com igual d'anhelants com nosaltres per un periodisme positiu, un periodisme rigorós, un periodisme bo, i això també ens animava, no? Vam començar a ser més diversos, no? Van començar a venir els corresponsals de Polònia, la República Txeca, Hongria i dels Balcans. Sens dubte les tribulacions dels Balcans ens preocupaven. Però en aquell moment la Shada, sabeu per què era sobretot coneguda? Perquè era la persona de la sala de premsa que més sabia de què? De les rondes comercials. The trade rounds. You were the star of the trade rounds. Un periodisme superdifícil, molt tècnic, però com que la Unió Europea, en aquell moment, quan estava naixent Maastricht, doncs era encara la Comunitat Europea, era un líder comercial i, per tant, el paper se'l jugava a les trade rounds, en les rondes comercials. I poquíssimes persones, l'Elisabet i tu, i molt poques més, compreníeu tots aquells articulats complexíssims. I, per tant, Shada, experta en trade rounds, experta en relacions amb Àsia, però marcaves ja la pauta, no? Per tant, molt interessant aquells inicis teus, o en tot cas que jo et vaig començar a veure l'any 92. I hi havia 2 coses més que la Shada era molt coneguda ja, i era perquè s'interessava per les polítiques de desenvolupament, development policies, ACP countries, Asian, Caribbean and Pacific countries. Eren molt pocs els que ens interessaven per això. I la veies amb ella seguint el comissari Marín, molt de prop, i era un preàmbul a l'acció exterior que després es va anar desenvolupant. This was a way preceding what afterwards was going to be more a foreign and security policy. Trade policy, development policy, and then foreign and security policy. And you moved all these strings around. Shada, I remember still you questioning Commissioner Britton, which preceded Patton. And he was the tsar of the trade negotiations, extremely eloquent and complex personality, but very, very important topics. So those were the 90s, and those were moments that really were building blocks of what is now the European Union, and you live them through. You have started with, if I am not mistaken, with a key media organization, Agence Europe. Agence Europe, for those that don't know it, pels que no coneixen, era el butlletí diari de les informacions més precises sobre aquest sistema administratiu, burocràtic, però també polític de la Comissió Europea. I era el butlletí que tothom es havia de llegir al matí per saber què passava a la Unió Europea. Ara mireu la quantitat de coses que hem de llegir per saber el que passa a la Unió Europea. Llavors, Shada, Agence Europe, dirigit per les germanes Gazzo, extraordinàries, jo entenc que també premiades, doncs marcàveu la línia del rigor, marcàveu la línia dels detalls, però que després s'obrien a les grans polítiques. Per tant, després de treballar per les germanes Gazzo i de treballar per aquests mitjans d'Àsia, el Southeast Economic Report, i també de països dels països asiàtics, et vares moure ja més en l'àmbit de les agències. Jo conec quan vas passar ja a treballar per l'agència DPA, però sempre amb la mateixa generositat, la mateixa apertura. Els nouvinguts sempre trobaven en la Shada una veu experta, com deia la Carme, que els acompanyava en l'aterratge en les institucions europees. I per això, ahir, parlant amb diverses persones que t'han conegut treballant a Brussel·les, em van recordar moltes coses molt interessants que vull compartir. I spoke with Emma Utwin, who is a spokesperson. I l'Emma em diu, always very well informed and conveniently skeptical. Fixeu-vos, tenia una relació amb els portaveus que fins i tot els amics, podien ser portaveus i podien ser amics, però sempre aquest rigor del periodista. Vaig parlar amb un periodista que s'ha jubilat ara fa molt poc. Shada, you'll know him very well, Nawab Khan. Nawab Khan és un periodista únic a les institucions europees perquè és de la Índia i ha treballat per mitjans d'Orient Mitjà i l'últim treball que feia era per l'agència Kuwaití. I era una veu informadíssima de la regió i de les polítiques europees cap a la regió. I el Nawab em diu, she's the voice and the star of the Global South. Isn't that beautiful? The voice and the star of the Global South. I em diu, now there are no anymore. És a dir, hi ha molts pocs periodistes del Global South o que informin cap al Global South. I a mi això em fa pensar que és un reflexe de la pèrdua d'impacte que té la Unió Europea i d'interès d'aquestes regions per la Unió Europea. Perquè si hi hagués més interès, generaríem més mitjans, hi hauria molta més informació. Per tant, és una mica complicat tot aquest tema i crec que sí que ens ha de fer pensar això que ens diu el Nawab, de que there are no more journalists from the Global South in the Brussels Press Room. Després vaig parlar amb una altra periodista amiga, que és la Nazlan Ertan. La Nazlan és una periodista turca, que ara viu a Izmir. I em va explicar una cosa molt interessant. Em diu, el fet de ser totes dues dones seculars però musulmanes en un ambient europeu cristià, per mi va ser una gran ajuda de sentir el seu acompanyament. Shada, you're right. Nazlan and you were both Muslim, but secularly raised, and with a very global mentality. Doncs fixeu-vos, nosaltres trobàvem acompanyament a la Shada pels seus coneixements, per la seva empatia, per el seu suport, i gent d'altres característiques, d'altres orígens, trobava empatia amb la Shada perquè compartia una idea de la religió, en aquest cas musulmana, molt interessant. And she told me something else, Nazlan. She told me, Shada always used the words with the most efficient way and manner to build bridges. You have also mentioned that. So the best way she used the words was to build bridges. This is really, really nice, and I think it's totally true. Then I spoke with another journalist, this case, American, British, French, Elizabeth de Bonny. And Elizabeth de Bonny emphasized for me your independence, and then something which was fantastic. She called a spade a spade. Què vol dir això? El papà i el viví, És a dir, no nonsense. I és veritat, She called a spade, and jo crec que això és molt important, que un periodista sàpiga dir el que és el papà i el que és el viví, I després, ell em va posar de relleu la importància de que una persona suposadament, i vull subratllar el suposadament de fora, fos una tan profunda coneixedora de les institucions europees. You know, as you considered an outsider, which you are not, you are an insider, not an outsider, but people saw in you an outsider, but you were a truly expert on you inside issues, which makes you unique. Then I spoke with somebody else whom you will know, Paul Ames and Amalia Torres, this wonderful couple of journalists from Britain and Portugal. And they praised you as a colleague because you work with agencies, AP and DPA, as an expert. And they said, and she's very funny. She likes dancing, she likes eating, she likes la mode, and she likes Freddie Mercury. So I cannot blame you. I also like Freddie Mercury, and I think our generation loved Freddie Mercury. But it was so nice that this transpired to them. Well, I spoke to Joanna. Joanna, we just saw her. Joanna is, for us, a star, what she has done in all her career in the BBC and NATO as a spokeswoman. And she underlined in particularly what she just said. You are the voice of the inclusion and the voice of diversity, which is exactly one of the reasons you are here. Això que acabo de dir de la inclusió i la diversitat em porta a parlar una mica més de la Shada dels últims mesos, anys, potser mesos sobretot, que és aquesta persona que es fixa sobretot amb aquests desafiaments que la nostra societat té respecte de minories que no són tan minories. La incapacitat que tenim perquè la diversitat se senti respectada i inclosa, no? I una de les coses que he trobat molt interessant és un assaig que ha escrit per l'Institut de Media Diversity, que és interessantíssim. Publiquen, Shada, is the book already out or not yet? És un llibre d'assajos sobre el paper dels mitjans en el foment de la inclusió i la diversitat. And your essay, Shada, is just extraordinary. I think we should all read it. Have you read it, Karma? It's fantastic. You know, it's so profound that I don't think I have words to summarize it. But l'essència és que ella diu molts dels 25 milions de musulmans que viuen a Europa i comparteixen el compromís i els ideals d'Europa, pateixen una creixent islamofòbia. Com pot ser possible que compartint els mateixos valors i compartint els mateixos ideals no es trobin completament incorporats, i sobretot en els moments en què hi ha atemptats terroristes suposadament executats per persones vinculades a la religió islàmica, o que se'ls hi posa l'etiqueta, no? I ella diu, hi ha un moment que diu, això provoca una ansietat en aquestes comunitats musulmanes que és molt més profund que el trauma post-terrorisme que es pot viure, i aquests debats sobre el lloc de l'islam a Europa i les crides que fan els musulmans a Europa representen les dificultats o les impossible possibilitat d'integració, i ens porten a una incapacitat d'una vida més rica i més plena, i en el fons ens revelen que l'islam i que els musulmans han estat perseguits en el continent europeu durant moltes dècades. És una traducció una mica lliure d'un paràgraf molt complexa, i jo crec que ens ha de fer reflexionar molt, perquè, a més, ella menciona un episodi extraordinàriament interessant que es resumeix d'on ets realment, where are you really from? Perquè en un acte en què la presenten a una persona i la presenten com una experta de la Unió Europea i sobre les institucions europees, però ella diu el nom, Shada Islam. Llavors, l'interlocutora dubta de com és possible un expert en temes de la Unió Europea i que es digui Shada Islam. I d'on ets realment tu? Realment la Shada és d'aquí. La Shada és de Brussel·les, és d'Europa, va néixer on sigui. Fixeu-vos, el debat que et provoca aquesta pregunta, Shada, being asked that question, where are you really from? Eclosiona tota una sèrie de sentiments, tota una sèrie d'emocions sobre el que es viu en aquest moment una persona, de les teves característiques, com altres 25 milions n'hi ha al continent europeu. Realment és molt emocionant i ens ha de fer reflexionar molt com hem de gestionar aquesta diversitat en aquest moment. I això ja em porta a fer un parell de mencions del que la Carme ja ha comentat, que és el moment actual. El moment actual en el qual acabem l'any 23 amb dues guerres i sobretot l'última, que s'ha desfet aquestes últimes setmanes, on ens trobem que afloren tot tipus de fòbies, la islamofòbia, antisemitisme, i que no tenim suficients conviccions per abordar-les a partir del diàleg, a partir de la conversa, a partir de parlar. I si no aconseguim fer-ho, no resoldrem aquests problemes. Fixeu-vos, en aquest moment, quan es posa en dubte algunes accions en el terreny pròpiament de la guerra, ja venen les acusacions d'antisemitisme. Hem de poder parlar abans d'acusar-nos mútuament. Per tant, és un moment especialment dramàtic que fa que afloren els ànims de venjança, afloren tot tipus d'actes tremendos com els que veiem a Gaza, i que el que sí ens fa falta són això que dèiem ara, les paraules que fan de pont, el diàleg com a solució, fins i tot en les circumstàncies més difícils. Un de les persones que hi vaig comentar que avui venia i et veuria, el Nawab Khan em va dir que la Shada tenia un talent especial, diu meravellós, per posar de relleu, en castellà diuen el doble rasero, no? I que utilitza Europa com vara de medir moltes de les circumstàncies, no? The European biases, double standards. Però també per denunciar, és a dir, que també té aquest talent per denunciar els tirans, els dictadors, els líders de països d'aquest sud global que són igualment de reprovables. Per tant, no perdre aquesta capacitat de crítica als nostres entorns europeus, quan practiquem aquestes polítiques de double standards, però també als altres països. Shada, your journalism, the manner in which you have practiced it, is more necessary than ever. In Europe and in the world, your words are always wise, they are always elegant, but they are truths like monuments. For these reasons, and for so many, the occasion that APEC brings us to talk about good journalism is, I think, a unique moment that we should all cherish. We have learned from you. We will always keep learning from you, from your ideas, from your analysis, but in particular from your attitude and your emotional relationship that you establish with everybody around you. Thanks very much. It's not that you have to thank APEC. I think all of us, we have to thank you.
Em voleu ajudar? No, bé? Voleu venir? M'ajudaré. Oh! So this is for you? Oh, thank you. Beautiful. Ah. Oh. We can open it. Yes, can we? Yes. Oh. Oh, this is yours. Okay, thank you. Can I also give, I don't want to drop this. Can I give this? Thank you so much. Wow. Hello, everyone. And I am so moved. I am so touched. Also to the family, thank you so much. And for all of you for your kind words. In a way, I feel like I've died and gone to heaven. I've never felt so much love and warmth and affection as I have feeling today. I'm very, very moved. It's really an honor for me, but I'm also very humbled by it because an honor from peers, from old colleagues, from friends, from people I admire and who have inspired me through the years, that is a real honor and a real recognition.
And in these days, as you all know, these are lonely times. We are struggling with many challenges that my colleagues have mentioned. Before I say a few words, I want to start with a quote from a man I turn to when I'm feeling a little uncertain about myself, and that's the mystic Sufi, Rumi. Rumi is someone whose book I keep near me, because whenever I'm feeling a little lost, a little unsure of myself, I read his words, and this verse stays with me, and he says, gold turns to dust and ashes in the hands of the wicked. Ashes turn to gold in the hands of the wise. And in today's world, it is the wisdom that we lack. We have everything we need. Nature has been bountiful. We are all born the same, but we have the leadership that we need to make us fulfill our what we were born with, our ambitions. So once again, thank you for the honor. So when I received Karma's message in June this year that I had been awarded this, I thought to myself, wow, the other people who have received this are good friends of mine, and you know, Christina, Judy Dempsey, the Gazzo sisters, David Gardner. So it was really like coming home. But it was already a very dark time then. We were just coming out of the pandemic. And of course, we were living through this very traumatizing war between Russia and Ukraine. It was still going on. Today, when I come to Barcelona to receive this award, the days have darkened even more. And the world around us is truly, truly heartbreaking. It is mornings of crying, sometimes waking up with tears in my eyes, going to sleep with tears in my eyes. And I'm sure all of us feel the same. This world, which is a beautiful world, is being destroyed by wicked leadership, I would say. And of course, I'm referring to the horrible act of terrorism that was Hamas, and then what ensued, the devastation, the daily devastation of Gaza that has continued. And the humanitarian crisis there that all of us, when we see it, we have children, we plan to have children. When we see what's happening to the children, I have to say, it makes you really wonder about what one UN person has called the pandemic of inhumanity in the world today. So in this context of darkness, this award really means so much to me. Because the jury that gave me the award, and you have stressed it, is in a sense recognizing the hard years of work I put in on geopolitics, but also on the emotional issues that sometimes in this world of geopolitics, of great power competition, that we journalists love to write about, you know, zero-sum games, military battles, wars, everything that is so macho. You know, it's so wonderful, that's how you show that you're a real man and a real leader is being tough. But one woman that I admire a lot is Federica Mogherini, and she says being soft is not a weakness, it's a strength. Being kind is a strength, is a sign of strength, not of weakness. And I think in today's world, we need to hear those voices more than we hear at the moment. So fighting inequalities, speaking up is something I have to say I learned at home. One day when I was a little uncertain again, because life is always a challenge, and you're always, as women, we always do this, and you know, Carmen, you said that, we always ask ourselves, are we all right? Are we doing this in the right way? Should we be doing something else? We're always a little hesitant, women are, you know. We're born like that, I guess, and you have to really learn to overcome that feeling of, am I good enough for this? You know, the imposter syndrome that people talk about. And it was one of those days when my late father came to me and he said, what's wrong? And I said, well, you know, this and that. And he said, Shada, when you believe in something, when you see an injustice, when you see unfairness, you can write about it. You can speak up about it. So do that and never be afraid of speaking the truth. Never be afraid of speaking truth to power. It is a scary thing. It's a lonely thing. And over the years, I've felt like that, but his voice echoes in my ears. So also today, as journalists, we also have to recognize that the world for journalists is shrinking. I mean, the journalism that all of us knew and cherished and were so proud of has now been reduced to really horrible headlines, short little exposés, clips, etc. And the depth that we seek, the nuance, you know, the balance that we seek and we need in today's world, we need balance. We're in a world of extremes. You go to the extreme left, the extreme right, and the middle ground is completely quiet, and I would say abandoned. It's a desert. And I think today's journalism is what we need to do, is to bring that balance into it. And I'm really looking to young people. I think there are some from journalism schools here, you, among others, sitting here with your mother. This is the kind of journalism, and I think we need it, and we can do it. It's not that we can't do it. Even in short sound bites, you can still be powerful in your moderation, right? And then when I look at what's happening against to how many journalists, how many brave journalists are being killed every day. You know, according to the International Federation of Journalists, almost 80 Palestinian journalists have died in doing their work, bringing us their stories, you know. The poets have died, as the journalists have died. And now, of course, we're saying, yes, for the first time, CNN is allowed in, so, you know, you're getting a picture of what's really happening in Gaza. Of course, that's not true. How dare you say that? How dare you say that it's because CNN has gone in that you're getting a picture of Gaza? Those journalists were doing it and are doing it today, every day. So we live in a world of contradictions, and we need to speak up. We really need to speak up when something doesn't work. So I'm really hoping, and I'm so proud of my Belgian, I was going to say roots, my Belgian citizenship. I'm proud of being in Spain. I'm proud of Ireland. I'm proud of countries that are speaking up. And I'm really hoping that they will take forward the UN General Assembly resolution, which is about an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. We need it. We need it to save humanity. So, friends, Europe is changing, and Karma has said it very clearly, as have you, Christina. We're at, I would say, at a kind of crossroads. I know in journalism we talk a lot about crossroads, but I think we truly are. And I came to Europe from a continent devastated by war. Every time I turned around, something was going wrong between India and Pakistan. It still is. Everything, a heartbeat away from war. I came at 18, went to university here and in Belgium, and I fell in love with Europe. I fell in love with the story of Europe, the story of peace. Don't forget, we got a Nobel Peace Prize in 2012. We are a continent which we are an inspiration for the world when we bring together adversaries together. We are a story of peace and reconciliation that still, I would say, resonates across the world. And even today, in the midst of this darkness that we see, the rise of the far right, the shifting to the right, as you mentioned, I still see in Europe many things that inspire me. And the focus on democracy, human rights, and the rule of law, I think, is still a very important tenet of our Europeanness. And those are the true European values that I adhere to. They're in our treaty, they're in our fundamental rights charter, but there is, we all know it, there's a gap between what we say, what we write, and what we actually do. And that double standards, I don't know who you mentioned it, Christina, is now becoming an embarrassment and a burden for Europe. When I'm engaging with people in the Global South, they always say to me, well, stop talking about this EU, because this EU is really, what is it today, you know? And I need to be able to hold up my head and say that it is still stands for something. So once again, to Belgium, to Spain, to Ireland, to people who are speaking up and really confirming our values, I say thank you. I say thank you. Thank you for keeping our moral compass alive. And thank you for making even geopolitical competition a question of still ethics and morality. So on a good day, I feel great in Europe, even now. We have small steps, I was telling you, Emmanuel, for this inclusive EU project that we have started with a few consultancies, changing the College of Europe, bringing in more talent from outside, changing recruitment policies in the EU so that the EU institutions look like the real Europe, look like the real European cities that I am so happy to be in, look like Barcelona, look like Brussels, look like Paris, look like London one day. So I think that those we need to change. We need to make Brussels, when I say Brussels, I mean EU Brussels, a little bit more diverse and more inclusive in many, many ways. And I think you mentioned what I'm doing to fight anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, anti-racism generally. I think we need to be more people who talk about it and more people who work for it. And I think there is a recognition that Eurocentric Europe, that only looks at itself and forgets its past, forgets the colonial heritage that many still remember us for, that will not work in today's very, very multilateral and multipolar world. That will not work. The bad days we all know about. Well, one other good day, Ukraine. So we have managed to put together a package. Accession negotiations will start. So we are showing a good determination on certain issues, which we should be very, very happy about and should point it out. But of course, my partner is Dutch, and we've just lived through the electoral triumph of Geert Wilders. Then we have Donald Tusk. That's the good news story. So I think if you're balanced in Europe today, you still think that we can manage. But as you were saying, the test is going to come next year in June. I am very, very happy, and we were speaking to Olga at the Journalists Association, and she told me, yes, there are people in the streets for Palestine, for equality, for human rights. So these young people are out there, they're keeping to our values, and they are telling our leadership that we need to be consistent and aligned with our what our founders were visionary about. I meet a lot of young Black and brown Europeans who are proud Europeans, but they look at me and they say, Shada, you tell us to join the EU institutions, you tell us to become members of the European Parliament, but look at us. Nobody there looks like us. We are not welcome in these institutions. We're not welcome. And I say, no, you have to break down those barriers. And they say, no, no, no. So a lot of my conversation, and Jordi knows it, is with young women, young men who are Muslim, who are Black or brown, and they feel disenfranchised. They feel marginalized. But this is Europe for them too. Where else can we go? This is really home. You know, this is when someone says to me, where are you really from? Or the other day I had an Italian colleague say to me, where are your roots? I was like, my roots? Gray already? I just went to the hairdresser the other day, you know, but no, where are you really from? We're really from Europe. After 40 years, this is my home, you know, Europe is my home. So these young people, you will shape, and we will ensure that they shape the Europe of today. And this elections next year, I'm worried, but I'm also hopeful that young people will be able to energize their parents and their grandparents so that we make sure that this Europe remains open, progressive, forward-looking, happy in a multicultural world, multipolar world, because we are ourselves multipolar, multilateral inside. But we still have a long way to ahead, a long way to go. And I'd like to end with a poem, this time by Robert Frost, an American poet. And this poet also resonates with me and echoes in my mind. And he says, the woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Thank you once again to everyone.
Doncs l'acte s'ha acabat. Agrair la Shada la seva participació, a tots vosaltres per ser aquí, també a la Comissió del Parlament per acollir-nos, al Col·legi de Periodistes i totes les institucions que sempre que necessitem alguna cosa esteu allà, al Diplocat i a la Conselleria, també a l'Ajuntament de Barcelona. I res, només ens queda fer have a drink, una copa, per celebrar el premi. Qui vulgui fer la sessió de fotografies també, sí, correcte. Gràcies a tots.